Today's topic: desire and temptation. So, to define both of these things, first, desire. Desire is a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. And the definition of temptation is the desire to do something, especially something wrong and unwise. And that is going to be today's podcast, fellas. That is going to be today's podcast. And there's going to be many different avenues that I can go about this. But I'm going to go about it one way. Like I said, if there's anything that's semi relating to this specific topic that you think is prevalent to bring up in the conversation, I want you to go ahead and leave it in the comments for sure. So I want to start with this. It is one of the most powerful things that does exist. Temptation and desire are two of the most powerful things that does exist. These are going to be some of the biggest controlling factors of society and of how the human mind actually works, right? So that's something I truly want to emphasize because I feel like it doesn't get enough emphasis. Um, but yes, the desire to do anything obviously is going to extend beyond what I'm going to be talking about on today's podcast. And temptation in itself is going to be one of the most ravaging emotions that a human being could ever feel. Like I said, that temptation, and especially with something that is wrong and unwise, is going to be a lot of temptation that you will face in this world. It doesn't matter what position that you're in this life, you're just going to have to go through that eventually. And quite frankly, there's really no avoiding it. And if you're a person that is a person who's avoided it their entire life truly and didn't even think about it once, until today's podcast, I want you to go and let me know. But I doubt there's going to be anybody like that. But yeah, let's get into it, man. The emotion and feeling of desire is one, like I said, one of the most powerful things, and you mix it in with temptation, and then it becomes something that is it is even more disastrous than just one or the other by itself. Um, but one thing I want to mention with this is it's always going to test your character as long as you live. If you even get to a point where you can control temptation and desire, just know that you'll be faced with it once again. And this will be an ongoing test of your character, like I said, as long as you live. This is something through my own personal experience. I have been fortunate enough to have had plenty of experiences where I avoided myself of these things. And just like with anything, obviously, like I said, these are going to be one of the most strongest things. And like I said, will forever test your character. So therefore, these are going to be battles that you will face and you will occasionally come across. And this is something that I've seen from my personal self. And like I said, I'm sure you watching this, whether you went through a phase of getting over temptation and desire, or whether you haven't. Um, I'm sure you could go ahead and say that it is going to be a test of character for sure that you will experience pretty much for the rest of your life, or at least for this for a good amount of time. I'll say that for sure. One thing I want to mention with this, and I feel like I said, just I don't see enough people talking about this. It's so underlyingly prevalent in today's society, and like I said, I just don't see enough people talking about it. Um, but but it's not a matter of it happening or of it being prevalent within society. It's more importantly how you're able to handle it. How do you think about when it comes into your mind? How do you think about it? How do you process that emotion? How do you process that feeling? How do you process those thoughts? Those are going to be probably some of the um, biggest indicators on how your character truly is, right? Because like I said, you're going to face these things in many different aspects of life, but how you go about them, how you think about them, how you remind yourself of how to move with this truly distraction, is going to say a lot more about your character than pretty much most things will. If you're a man, unfortunately, that is a victim of temptation and desire um, in any occasion that brings about the potential of temptation or desire, you fold every single time. You're going to live a very, very rough existence. And also, if you're a person who's been able to deny temptation and desire, nonetheless, do you live a better existence? Yes, but do you still live a very, very tough existence? Yes, you do for sure. And like I said, I just don't see enough people talking about this because this is something that everybody has to go through. Men, women. I'm going to be referring a little bit more to the man aspect, but I do believe that everybody's going to go through this. But how you go about it, and I feel like part of the reason and part of the way you go about it is by having the conversation, right? By having the conversations maybe most people are not willing to have. Maybe even the conversations that most people are not even comfortable having, which is why welcome to the Life of a Champ podcast. One thing I want to say before I get a little bit deeper into the topic: shout out to Sarah. Happy birthday! Appreciate you and for all that you've done with helping me think. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Um, but yeah, getting into it. Everybody's a victim. Let's keep it 1,000, right? If you're a man watching this, you're a victim. If you're a woman watching this, you're a victim. Um, and like I had mentioned, unfortunately, most people watching this probably will not conquer this beast. This will probably be something that's prevalent within your life, and you'll be nothing more than a victim of this. But hopefully, if you're watching this and you recognize this and you watch this maybe at an early enough age, you can conquer this beast. But for the most part, most people are not. If we're going to keep it 1,000, most people are just not able to conquer this beast. Um, and at the very least, if you conquer it once, at least you know what it takes to conquer the beast of temptation, lust, and desire, temptation, lust. These are going to be all interchangeable throughout this specific podcast. But like I said, if you're in here and you're watching, make sure to go ahead and leave a comment. If there's anything even slightly off topic, but still kind of remaining within the elements of temptation, desire, or lust, I want you to go ahead and leave in the comments because that is going to be today's topic for sure. Um, and one thing I want to mention with this as well is I'm a person who has put in a lot of time and energy into thinking about these things and also processing this emotion. Emma, appreciate you for stopping by. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna say in any capacity that I am perfect. I'm also a person that has to go through these things. But what I will say though is I've been able to do things that not a lot of men can truly say that they've been able to do. So I'll get into those right now in a second. And these are going to be things that I'm going to recommend for everybody to go ahead and do at least some point in their life because I do believe it to be beneficial in many different aspects. And of course, it's going to be handling the beast of lust, the beast of temptation, the beast of desire, which truly needs to be assessed and processed thoroughly because most people they don't think about it. I won't say they don't think about it. They don't process it. They're just a victim. They just think about it and it controls and dictates their life. And if you're a person watching this that is better and can think logically, hopefully you're going to be able to reframe your mind on this because, um, like I said, unfortunately most people are just not able to handle this. Um, but yeah, let me read you some comments real quick. Facts. I would rather get things off my chest to a wise person who has dealt with the same thing I have to help me go through the temptation I have so that I can help them out with theirs. We got to use the things that make us exactly. Emma, you're exactly right. KJ, you're exactly right. Good stuff from y'all. Um, but yeah, you're exactly right. You got to use all that you can. So I'm gonna get into the elements that have made me qualified, in my opinion, qualified to talk about these certain things. So one thing that I've been able to do that I haven't seen many people do, especially men. I maybe you could point out a woman that has done this, but I haven't talked to any man usually that has been able to do this. And this is going to be entering phases of life of voluntarily being celibate, right? Voluntary celibacy is going to be one of the rarest things that exists that a man chooses to do. Because I'm going to explain it to you. Usually, there's going to be three different categories that a person can exist within, right? And these three things are you either don't have any sexual relations, right? These are what we call incels, right? That is just what it is. They have a hard time. Um, they have a hard time managing, or they have a hard time being able to court somebody and obviously have some type of physical relations, right? And then you have the people that just that just indulge within that, right? I'm not saying one is right, one is wrong, but then you have this rare group in the middle, which is something that, like I said, most people are not able to do, and specifically, most men are not able to do or even conceptualize or even think about truly, right? This is going to be the people who are voluntarily celibate that truly can indulge within one, but choose not to because they understand the benefits that may come from this specific experience. And I had went celibate for about 7 months last year, and that was probably one of the most introspective moments of my entire life. I've taken so many things when it comes to conquering the beast of lust, and also controlling temptation and desire, and also limiting these things because I do believe people have this victim mindset when it comes to when they think about these certain things. But you must be able to realize that you can control these things. You must take control and take accountability of your life and realize that you can control these things. And I'm a person who's a walking example of a person who's time and time again have been able to control these things. And like I said, I don't see a lot of men will either talk about this or have able to do this and do it for a sustainable amount of time that's truly realistic. And another thing I want to add into this as well, which was an element of this 7th month period, which makes it even more difficult to do because truly you can enter voluntary celibacy. I keep messing that up, but a lot of what people do, they self pleasure, right? Like I said, we're very very open. We're very very open in this on this podcast. Um, but to defeat the beast of lust and go celibate and also not self pleasure is a different experience. It takes a different level of self discipline. It takes a different level of control. It takes a different level of true introspection, and I feel like most people are not able to do that. I was able to endure this for the majority of last year, and it is something that I've been thinking about as a conscious thought for years, but I've actually played it out. And with that being said, I haven't in over a year, so that's gonna be one of the, like I said, one of the craziest things that you could possibly hear come out of a man's mouth nowadays. Because quite frankly, um, you got little monkeys running around going crazy, right? That's all I have to say about that. Because that is what it is, man. That is what it is. But like I said, it you have to analyze the person that you want to be and what it takes to become that person, right? I want to be a person who's going to be self-disciplined and controlled, and the only way to do that is by doing things that's going to tempt me to doing things that or avoiding things that can tempt me, and avoiding things that will that I have a natural inclination to desire. And like I said, most people are just not able to do this, right? So I'm speaking from personal experience. I'm also speaking from the observations of many people around me. But I do believe that this is an essential part of self improvement, especially as a man. And even though it may seem silly, right? It may seem silly to some when I say don't self pleasure, right? Um, but the reason I think it's silly to just be a victim of this. And like I said, most men that you will meet in your life are a victim of this, whether they'll admit it or not. The reason I can talk about it is because I'm not, right? And yeah, they're victims, and some are helpless, man. Some can't even conceptualize doing anything that I've done that I've just mentioned within the last 5 minutes. They can't even begin to fathom the idea of them enduring so much temptation and so much lust and so much desire. And like I said, it's this shit is not made for the weak, fellas. I'll tell you that it's not for the weak. And if you're a person that truly wants to test your self control, right? This is going to be a perfect route for you. It's something that, like I said, is an essential part of self improvement that you cannot deny. And there's also many different benefits. I can get into that if you guys would like, but there's going to be many different benefits that can come from that experience, mentally, physically, spiritually. There's going to be so many benefits, like I can't even name them all on this podcast. But I just want to point that out because, like I said, it's not something that is common. It's not something that you see every single day for sure.